Hello guys, this is Infinum here, and not just Infinum, we also have Scribe, and I just want to jump into this.
Oh, yes, you are absolutely right, Inf. Absolutely. I've just seen the requirements drop myself, and I was like, oh my God, we got to get into this. Let's do this.
And we're doing
I'm
this
totally
right now.
stoked.
We're bringing
Yes,
it on. We have the Star Wars blog post, we're gonna see it soon, but requirements, we gotta talk about what we gotta talk first. Let's go from bottom to top first. Relicate
okay.
GMY. Thoughts?
Well, I was fairly convinced that GMY was going to be a requirement. Relic 8, I didn't think we'd. I thought maybe there's might be a 50% chance we'll get another Relic 8 as part of these requirements.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was going to be GMY. I thought we'd have a Relic 7 GMY, to be honest. So it's not a huge surprise to see Grandmaster Yoda there, but R8 was a little bit like, oh, okay, fine.
To be
Um,
fair, out of all of these five characters, I think GMY is the one I'd prefer to R8.
yeah, well, yeah. Especially when you look at it from the perspective of he may well be dragging over to the Jedi Master Kenobi team.
Yeah.
It's quite likely he's a Galactic Republic Jedi. Kind of makes sense. He's also support, which has synergy with Cam. If you
Yeah.
think about,
The extra
the Jedi
offense.
Council unique buff that he gets. So it's like not a terrible. I'm not too grumpy about it. Mine's already at R5, so maybe my opinion is a little bit flavored by that. But I'm not too mad at R8 GMY, to be honest. There could be worse characters.
So do you want to present the next one that we have
Oh,
going through?
absolutely. Next one is going to be sort of a massive boon for any guild that takes Lightside GOTB seriously. Shaak T at Relic 7. Again, I am really not mad about this. Shaak T is a requirement for the Cam mission. Cam is going to be almost a shoe-in cert for the Jedi Master Kenobi team. Not a terrible character to R7. Obviously, a lot of people probably only want to take her to like R5 for crank or viability, for Cam viability, but it's not a terrible R7 at the end of the
No,
day.
it's just
Again,
the extra thickness. She survives longer for her unique to be a little bit more annoying. She just sticks around for that little bit longer, and it's just not one that hurts your roster at all. Is what I'd
exactly.
feel most. She's not
And
the
again,
damage dealer, but it's just that extra survivability on a support character that sometimes you'll be like, "Hey, I'm so happy that she took this rocket from the Reek and survived," kind of
well,
thing.
exactly. But again, if we look at Kiadi Mundi, she is again a Galactic Republic
Support.
Jedi that is a support. So
Yep.
she's going to gain that additional Jedi Council buff. So if this is all pointing towards Cam's going to be in Jedi Master Kenobi teams, am I right? I mean, like already two of the characters in the tier 3 requirements are support Galactic Republic Jedi.
To
Like
go with JMK, who looks support. We'll get onto that in a second. And
exactly.
I mean, and there's more good support Jedi out there too. So
Oh, for certain, for certain.
okay,
Um,
this one we fucking called it.
oh, mate, you and I were both like Django Fett. You think about that iconic scene in Camino where Kenobi faces off against Django, and you said to me, "But what if Django's a requirement?" And I was like, "I want him to be a requirement. I want an excuse to relic up my bounty hunters. Django's a great requirement. Django's
He
a great
is.
requirement. Like big damage dealer for bounty hunters, works on so many levels, especially with the introduction um, with the Mando. You know, the bounty hunter Mando with his disintegrate ability, totally viable team, can take out some high level teams, hits like an absolute truck, stops revives. Nobody can be angry at an R7 Django.
And I would like to
Um,
point out two other things. You have the amazing bounty hunter squad that you get out of Jango Fett,
mhm,
but you also have another thing. We have a lot of separatists that come through these requirements, so you can add
mhm,
Jango Fett as a plus character in your separatist team. If
mhm,
you didn't really work on them, or if you have like a low gear Newt, a low gear Dooku,
mhm,
and you
mhm,
slap
mhm.
that Jango Fett in there, that's one cool thing. The other one is actually you have Bo-Katan at relic levels. You have Jango Fett at relic
Exactly.
levels. They also have some
Exactly.
synergy between themselves if you
Mhm.
were to ever rock these guys in like a 3-3, because now we are in this expanded
Oh,
format.
100%.
Maybe you have some nice separatist teams and some nice bounty hunter teams, and you're like, well, I could make a Mando team, and you slot in your Bo-Katan and your Jango Fett into one offense team or something like that. So that could also work out in our favor too. So that's fun too.
100%. 100%. Those three requirements out of this five already, it's already like these are great requirements. These are
Super
great
happy about that.
requirements.
Now
Oh
the
yeah.
other two, more debatable. Cody
Yeah.
Twar
Yeah.
5. What are your thoughts on this?
I think a lot of us saw Cody being a requirement.
Yes, we
I
all
think
did.
we called it out in like week one. Cody is most likely going to be a requirement at some point for Jedi Master Kenobi. Makes total sense. Do you want to have an R5 Cody? No, let's face it, nobody wants an R5 Cody. He had some use in like the heroic tank raid, but that's 2 raids ago now,
And
and
now
that
his use
gets
is only
singed.
getting eaten alive and devoured by the Rancor, if you use
Well,
that
yeah.
style of
I
play.
mean, is he a requirement for the P2 middle South mission?
Yeah, he
Oh, is
is,
that
with
P3 rather?
Sergeant
Sorry.
GK that you will
Um,
get from these relic levels. And he's not
yeah,
terrible with the Bad Batch as well. That's also a
yeah.
decent
It's
point.
kind of like they're
It's
obviously going to
it
throw
makes
you
use
some
out of him.
stinkers, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah. So I'm kind of like I don't want to have to do it, but given the state of the rest of the requirements for JMK,
It's
I
fine.
will definitely take that on the chin. I'll take that on the
And
chin any day.
Cat Bane,
I didn't
okay,
see
as a
that one coming.
character, I don't think I'm too happy with him because this kid is just not amazing.
It's not
But
good.
as fleet goes with Xanadu blood, if you working on like you have probably good Houndstooth to go with
Hmm.
there,
Yeah.
and it's another bounty hunter ship that goes with Razor Crest. And it's a good, solid reinforcement to have to plug into your Rados or your Finalizer. It's not the worst for the fleet viability. Of course, for
It's
bounty
not the
hunters,
worst.
though, having Cad Bane or Relic 5 maybe not the favorite thing to do.
No, no, he isn't. He really isn't like an ideal fifth, especially with the introduction of characters like Grief Karga, like Mando
Yeah,
himself.
you'd probably
You know,
prefer
you've
Gear
already
8
got
Grief in
Django.
there instead of Relic 5 Cad Bane.
Well, yeah, he's. It's not that he's terrible. It's just now his kit is outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think his main benefit is, like you're saying, is slotting into that new bounty hunter fleet squad, especially now that we've got the Razor Crest. That really sort of brings it out. And the other side that we can look at this is because of Bo Katan, because of Django Fett being requirements, it gives people more of an excuse to go down the Beskar Mando route and gear up
Yeah.
those characters. It's like it's less of a bad investment because let's face it, Beskar Mando is a little bit underwhelming in his current form. So
Yes.
at least this gives it a little bit more of a viability on a broader scale. Obviously, you don't want to relic Cad Bane, but I suppose they could have thrown in Jedi Consular, or they could have thrown in
Plo Koon.
um, well, I wouldn't mind Plo Koon actually with the
Yeah, I
ship
wouldn't
and
mind.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm a gun
Ithkoth, Kid
guy or
Fisto.
Eth Koth, like they could have thrown in those guys. So it's still not the worst investment, just not great either.
And that's what we think about this group 3, but we do need to absolutely talk about this blog post because we have
Hmm.
news as well in regards to how the event is going to be done. So this is some in-game footage of what Jedi Master Kenobi's looking like. And the thing that I want to, we got to zoom in a little bit further here. Do you want to talk about this animation on Jedi Master Kenobi's Ultimate?
Oh, the ultimate looks hype. The ultimate looks hype.
It's
What
all
can
the
we say about
characters.
it?
Like, you just put any Galactic Republic character and you just see their silhouette in there. It just looks
Yeah,
so good from a
yeah.
visual standpoint.
And
I
you've got
really
that
enjoy
new
it.
cat, the new Commander Ahsoka Tano is there in her attack stance down there. She's looking pretty hype. I'm still not entirely sold if she's going to be the final sort of staple character that we're going to have. I know they do say in the description here that he does have synergy with unaligned Force users, so maybe. But I can't help but keep on going back to Kiadi Mundi here. I can't help but think about it with GMY, with with
Shakti.
Shakti being requirements for this particular GL. I can't help but feel that Kiadi Mundi is going to be the ideal, and in a totally ideal scenario, you have the whole Galactic Republic Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we do have Ayla, maybe we do have GK, maybe we have Gas, maybe we have GMY, maybe we have Shakti. I don't know, but the end of the day, that animation does look incredibly hype. I love it. I love it. The looks of it so far are looking great.
It just looks so good. I want to see what this is gonna look like. I'm also kind of curious on his ultimate, the way he's beefing
Hmm.
up his allies as well with this extra shininess coming through. If his ultimate is also
Hmm.
going to be viable for solo situations, or if it's going to be more like Jedi Master Luke and just doesn't charge. So that's also kind of curious,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you can see a Ray just ultimating this JMK to death,
Mm.
possibly in a
Well,
3v3 standpoint.
yeah, I
Possibly.
mean,
Who knows?
Ray's always been a pretty lethal GL in 3v3s just because of the way her ultimate works, right? But I, I don't know. There's only so much we can really garner from this. It says that he's going to work with Jedi and unallied Force wielders to protect and bolster Jedi allies. We don't know if that means he's going to be a tank or support and charge
I
his
think
ultimate ability with
support
his
the way
own.
that's worded, but it could
I,
be either way.
it could be either, the protect bolster sounds kind of tanky, but it could also be support, right? It could be either way. I'm hoping it's going to be support because that will just throw additional fire onto the Kiadi Mundi train, right? Him being a
Exactly.
support, gaining his health to his offense would be disgusting. Um, I don't know, man. I'm just incredibly hyped. How generous, on the overall, how generous do you think these requirements are for Jedi Master Kenobi?
They're looking pretty good. There's some characters in there
Mhm.
that I really wanted to work on. One thing that I did
Mm.
immediately was this. I took Jango immediately to R3. Probably would
Oh,
take him a
did
little
you?
bit further. Yeah, I did. He went just
Oh,
straight from
nice.
G11 to R3. Gotta
Oh
put it on
man,
here on
mine's
from the
sat
guild
at
chat.
G11 right now. I don't know whether to pull the trigger or not,
Some
Greg.
people are
I'm
just
definitely
blowing their
going for
hordes
Jedi
too.
Master Kenobi. Like I'm definitely going to go for Jedi Master Kenobi now, but I don't know whether I pull the trigger now or I wait until Bo-Katan is ready because that's still going to be like two
Probably
months.
worth waiting unless you want to do some
Mhm.
characters like Django that just improve your roster regardless of what happens.
Well, the rest of my bounty hunters are still like year 11,
But you
so
can plug them in with your separatists, and it still helps you for 3-3. I
that's
luckily
true.
haven't locked in
That's
yet. I
true.
kind of need to
Yeah,
do my mods really quickly.
yeah. You better get on that. Better get on that. Oh, God,
But
yeah.
just to wrap it up, we do need to talk about one thing, which here is
Mhm.
also mentioned the event. So it has three
Mhm.
different scenarios, and as we go along the Revenge of the Sith journey from Jedi Master Kenobi, and we will have the Utapau scenario. We're going to have the Jedi Temple scenario, and we're also
Yep.
going to have an Anakin versus Kenobi standoff
Mhm.
in what I'd assume to be the alt tier. And then in regards to what would be speculation, I think we're going to have maybe two versions of Utapau. One where you are controlling Separatists, another one where you're controlling Galactic
Mhm.
Republic, and then you go over to the Jedi Temple where you have Shakti, GMY, Kenobi, something like that maybe that they would try to do. Could be something
Mhm.
that they're willing to go for. Not sure what they're doing there, but it does seem like the way the event is going to go, which I totally play outside
Oh
of
yeah.
the ultimate perspective just because it's such iconic parts from the movie. What
Yeah,
about you?
100%. I think it's sort of they've picked out the key points of his plot arc, haven't they? From sort of the end of the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith sort of period. There's nothing not to like here, guys. I'm sure based on the last set, like love or hate, sorry, the sequel trilogy. At least from a storytelling narrative perspective for the Sith Eternal Emperor and for Jedi Master Luke, those journeys when you play through them are actually enjoyable, because you can like empathize, you can enjoy the moment for what it is compared to like the Ray events, which and the SLKR events, which were
Yeah.
almost carbon copies of each other. You had the
Yeah.
stupid dual mechanic, wasn't that enjoyable. I
Nope.
think this one is going to be really good. I think this one's going to be really good. So
It's
I'm
looking like
hyped.
they
Who
might
doesn't want to do
they
that
nailed
fight
it.
on Mustafar at the end? I mean, that's
It's
one
all
of
you can
the
ask
most
for
iconic.
as a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, 100%. So let me ask you then, based on this information, who do you think we're going to get next as the GL? The
Anakin
counterpoint
is
here.
looking pretty likely, but they could still go for him all because of all of that art
Hmm.
they have done as well. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Honestly, I just wanted the light side GL out of this, and Kenobi's
Oh
looking
yeah,
and
me too.
staring at me like, "You want me for light side Geo, don't you?"
Well, that's what my two current light side GLs and zero dark side GLs are saying at the moment. I'm going to have all the light side GLs and no dark side GLs. My roster is going to be very light side focused after this. But hey, it happens. It
Not an
happens.
issue, I'd say. Not an
Not an
issue.
issue. No, no, no. I'll get SLKR eventually.
Eventually, but he's gonna have to wait. He's gonna have to hold
Yep.
on because the big boys have come here to make a statement. Any wrapping thoughts on this?
No, I think we've said it all. I think we've said it all, man. I'm happy. I'm happy overall. These requirements, I think, have been quite generous on a whole to most players. Yes, there are a few time gates in so much as you got Watt and that sort of thing. You got Bo-Katan as a new character. But overall, it's not a terrible investment. Even without seeing his kit, it's not a terrible investment.
And that will be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jedi Master Kenobi's Phase 3 requirements. They'll probably lock into your game very soon. They will be showing up. and you can see what your progress is looking like. Seems like the biggest concern with getting him done is having the 7-star Watem board. From there, you kind of gear up the rest of the characters, which is really nice too. So makes him relatively attainable too. There's no Kiadi Mundi issues that would trigger any players also leaving the game, so that is also brilliant. Leave your thoughts down below. Are you guys happy with these whole requirements? And yeah, that will be all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you all soon.